A fresh criminal complaint was filed against former President Noynoy Aquino and some of his former officials over the Dingbaksha controversy. The group Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption, or VACC, troops to the Justice Department to file a complaint for graft, malversation of public funds, causing undue injuries, and violations of the procurement law against Aquino. Included in the complaint are former Secretaries Butch Abad and Janet Garin, along with former and current officials of the Health Department and executives of pharmaceutical firms Zwilig and Sanofi Pasteur. According to Aquino spokesperson Abigail Valte, the former president is prepared to answer what she calls baseless allegations made against Aquino. Defense Chief Delphine Lorenzana has an icy response to Canada's decision to review its helicopter deal with the Philippines. The review prompted President Duterte to call for the termination of the deal. Lorenzana tells Canada off, saying it has no business telling the Philippine Armed Forces how to use the helicopters. Our senior correspondent David Santos tells us more.
The Duterte administration is standing its ground. The $233 million helicopter deal with Canada will be scrapped. After the president's announcement over the weekend, Defense Chief Delphine Lorenzana is now working to have the contract formally terminated within the week. All these after a Canadian government official called for a review of the sale of 16 Bell helicopters, raising concerns these will be used against Filipinos themselves, even if they are rebels or terrorists. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau earlier commented on the issue.
Absolutely. We have very clear rules around who and what we can sell, either arms or potential military vehicles like helicopters, and controls on what they intend to be used for and checks on how they are used.
On Monday, Lorenzana tells off Canada, even using the F word, saying it had no business to say how the helicopters will be used, since these will be paid for in the first place. This is the second time Canada is selling helicopters to the Philippines. Lorenzana says, why raise the issue only now? And contrary to doubts, the helicopters will not be converted into assault air assets.
Itong helicopters na pinoprocure natin are utility helicopters. No? They are not intended for combat and they will not be armed.
The DND says it is now looking into Korea, Turkey, Russia, and even China as its new supplier to replace Canada.
Two Supreme Court justices believe Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Serrano should have been rejected when she applied for the highest Supreme Court position. They pointed out Serrano failed to submit all her required statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth or SALNs. Our Joyce Ilas reports.
Associate Justices Teresita Leonardo de Castro and Diosdado Peralta believe Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Serrano should not be Chief Justice. They are furious that the Judicial and Bar Council's Executive Committee included Serrano on the list of nominees, despite her failure to submit her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth. The SALN is required to apply as Chief Justice. Peralta, then head of the JBC on Bank, believes he was deceived by the Executive Committee, which did not inform him about this.
The application of Chief Justice Serrano should have already been denied by the recruitment office. This should have not already reached the end bank. I could have immediately objected to the selection of the Chief Justice for voting, because this is a very clear deviation from the existing rules.
Peralta recalls that when his wife applied to be a presiding justice at the Court of Appeals, the JBC rejected her because her NBI clearance and blood test and sugar count were not validated.
If they allowed the Chief Justice to be voted upon a Chief Justice, why did they not allow my wife to be included in the selection for the presiding justice? I beg for them. I am a justice of the Supreme Court. They do not even honor my words. What kind of JBC do we have? What kind of Chief Justice do we have?
Associate Justice De Castro can't hide her anger at JBC officials either.
She should not have been even interviewed. She should have been excluded. So I think there was a grave injustice done to all the applicants. There is not even a substantial compliance because her letter says she no longer can submit any of her SALN from UP. How can that be substantial compliance? There is non-compliance absolutely.
De Castro argues the filing of SALN was important because the applicants were replacing the late Chief Justice Renato Corona, who was impeached and ousted for his failure to truthfully declare his SALN. JBC Executive Director Attorney Annalisa Capaceta explains the original rule was for applicants to submit all of their SALNs since they worked in government. But many applicants failed to submit all their SALNs. So then Congressional Representative to the JBC Senator Francis Escudero suggested to relax the rule and allow substantial compliance.
The candidate can be considered to have substantially complied even if he lacks SALN for certain period, as long as he submitted some, it's already substantial compliance. So he commented that there is at least an attempt to comply with the particular requirement.
Capacita says Serrano submitted 3 SALNs, which the JBC considered substantial. De Castro, however, insists the applicants were informed that to be considered to have substantially complied with the rule, they needed to submit at least 10 SALNs from 2002 until 2011. JBC member Maria Milagros Fernan Cayosa says among the 6 Supreme Court Associate Justices who applied to be Chief Justice, only Serrano was unable to follow this rule.
We begin with the Labor Department issuing a ban on deploying new Filipino workers to Kuwait. This after a furious President Rodrigo Duterte demands answers on the death of a Filipina found in a freezer after a year. Our AC Nichols tells us what her family is doing in the wake of this tragic ending.
The Demofelis family is now working with labor officials to bring home Joanna, the overseas Filipino worker who was found dead in a freezer in Kuwait. Joanna's siblings cried as they shared their ordeal in looking for Joanna when she stopped communicating in 2016. They said they approached the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA but didn't get much help.
Maasa kami na ma-aksyonan ng OWA. Tapos, ang ano talaga namin na ma-aksyonan nila, at kaya doon po sa, sa embassy po ng Kuwait. Pero ang namin, walang action eh.
Prior to Joanna's death, 7 other Filipino housemaids were reported dead in Kuwait. This prompted the government to issue a total ban on the deployment of Filipino workers in the Gulf state. On Monday, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello signed the administrative order, effective immediately. But Bello clarified not all workers will be forced to go home.
Yung lang gusto umuwi, at saka yung dapat umuwi, halimbawa wala naman silang trabaho doon, ganon. Yun ang tutulungan natin makauwi. Pero yung mga nandun, magandang trabaho, maganda naman ang treatment sa kanilang mga employer nila, they can stay for as long as they want.
The department is still studying whether the order will cover returning OFWs who have current contracts in Kuwait. For now, OWA Chief Hans Kakdak said they are looking into the case of Joanna and they're investigating if welfare officers ignored the family's plea.
Titingnan din namin kung sino itong mga empleyado namin na sumagot ng ganitong klase kasi hindi nararapat yon.
As the hunt for Joanna's former employers continues, the Demofelis family can only wait, hoping for Joanna's return in the soonest possible time.
The Labor Department also created a task force that will visit Filipino workers in Middle Eastern countries and assess their living conditions. CNN Philippines sat down with OWA Administrator Hans Kakdak. Speaking to our chief correspondent Pia Ontiveros, Kakdak gave us details on actions taken by authorities after the Demofelis family approached the agency last year.
Our records indicate that she approached POEA in January of 2017.
I see. Okay.
And,
sorry, 2017.
And in our case, February 28, 2017, she approached our Repatriation Assistance Division, she being Jessica, the sister of Joanna, elder sister.
Was there an effort by OWA and the embassy in Kuwait to locate her?
What happened after the visit to the OWA on February 2017, 2017, there was a follow-up. An email or communication was sent to our welfare officers in Kuwait.
Yes.
And there was a follow-up email in March 2017, March 17, 2017. And what happened thereafter is that our welfare officers ascertained the existence of the Kuwaiti agency. the POA had already said that the local agency's license had been cancelled, the Philippine agent.
Cancelled because?
There were some violations or infractions back in June 2016 for some other case.
The search for Joanna de Mafeli stopped there because hindi na malocate,
Hindi na
nag-close
siya
down yung
mahanap.
agency doon.
Hindi na siya mahanap.
Was there no other way that she could have been found apart from going through the agency? Wala na bang ibang paraan talaga?
Well, another possible way could have been to go through the Kuwaiti authorities, but the Kuwaiti authorities apparently had taken action at around just recently when they broke open the home of the
employer. They did that because of the
failure to pay rent on the part of the Kuwaiti
So it was just a failure to pay rent. It wasn't because hinahanap si Joanna.
Yes. She was discovered by accident.
Kakdak adds the government does not have a bilateral labor agreement with respect to domestic workers in Kuwait. The death of domestic worker Joanna de Mafelis is once again raising concerns about the safety of Filipino workers overseas. More than 500 OFWs from Kuwait have been repatriated since last week. Our Rex Remitio talked to some of them, and it appears that de Mafelis was not alone.
Visha Soriano couldn't hold back her tears as she describes her ordeal working in Kuwait for almost 3 years. The 43-year-old signed up as a caregiver, earning 16,000 pesos a month to provide for her 3 children back home. But she ended up an illegal house helper for an abusive employer.
Yung hinatak ako na gusto niya akong anuhin, sabi ko sa kanya, Madam, kahit patayin mo ako dito, wala akong magagawa, basta gusto ko magpasoli sa agency. Kasi yung agency, ayaw nila sa akin na tanggapin. Hindi ko na kaya, nagkasakit ako, na-stress ako, hindi ako makabangon, hindi ako makalakad.
Like Soriano, 51-year-old Mercy Cartujano shares the same story.
Araw-araw, laging nagmumura, laging tapos yung mga bata, nananakit, nananadyak, nagdudura.
Both fortunately did not suffer the fate of Joanna de Mafelis, whose body was found in a freezer after a year. They escaped by sheer will and the instinct to survive. But without passports and documents, they cannot renew their work visas until these expired.
Yung mga pulis doon sa mga daan nagche-checking.
They took advantage of President Duterte's offer to go home at no cost. Soriano and Cartujano are among the more than 500 repatriated workers since last week. About 2,000 more will be going home in the coming days.
Yung mga nandito ngayon is a combination of yung mga humingi ng tulong sa polo o sa embahada o yung mga nag-overstay.
The workers will be getting 5,000 pesos as financial assistance, 20,000 pesos more if they want to put up a business. Cartujano regrets taking the risk in Kuwait, while Soriano is hoping her family will understand her situation.
Sana naman matanggap nilang buong na hindi ako parang nagwagi dito sa pag-abroad kong itong pangatlo at itong sa Kuwait. Sana sila na lang ang mag-alaga sa akin pagtanda ko.
For those who want to inquire on the status of their relatives working in Kuwait, you may call the OWA hotlines at 551-1560. You may also send a text message to 0917-TXT-OWWA.
We are keeping tabs on Tropical Storm Bashang, which is threatening the southern part of the country. Weather Bureau Pag-asa says Bashang has maintained its strength as it approaches northeastern Mindanao. The storm is expected to bring scattered to widespread moderate to heavy rains in the next 24 hours over Visayas and most of Mindanao. Signal number 2 is raised over the entire Caraga region, where Bashang is expected to make landfall tomorrow morning or afternoon. Pag-asa says as of now, the storm is likely to hit land in Surigao del Sur. Under signal number 1, we have the entire northern Mindanao region. The same storm warning signal is up in Lanao del Sur, Compostela Valley, Davao Oriental, and Davao del Norte, as well as Zamboanga Sibugay, Zamboanga del Norte, and the northern portion of Zamboanga del Sur. In the Visayas, it's also signal number 1 in the southern portions of Samar and eastern Samar, Biliran, Leyte, and southern Leyte, Bohol, Cebu, Negros Oriental and Occidental, Siquijor, Guimaras, Iloilo, Capiz, and the northern or the southern portion of Antique are also under signal number 1. Residents in these areas are warned against possible flooding and landslides. Up north, a strong surge of the northeast monsoon prevails, bringing light rains and cooler temperature in northern and central Luzon.